I'm Dr. Deborah Sword, here with my friend and co-host Tyson Bankert.
Hi everyone, my name is Tyson. I'm an artist and community facilitator.
Tyson, was there a time you weren't sure how to make a decision or what the right decision was to get you your desired outcome? And how did you pick the choice that was best for you?
Mhm. Deborah, don't tell my parents, but most of my decisions are based on intuition. And typically there are signs and feelings that usually provide some direction before I make that decision. And I also honor the fact I made the choice in the end. The best choice for me, it may not be the right one or the wrong one, that binary, but it's really the best choice. And I have to be confident that I made that decision.
I'm like that too, is make the decision and live with it. And speaking of living with it, years ago, I had a rare health issue, and without treatment, I was going to die within months. The specialist offered me a choice between the standard treatment or an experimental treatment, and was very clear there were no guarantees with either one. But he was also clear that I wouldn't be able to change my mind. After I made the decision and started the treatment, I had to finish that treatment. If I died within months, I'd chosen wrong. As a conflict specialist, I often answer questions about conflict with the expression, it depends.
Mm.
So I understand the specialist couldn't predict which treatment would save my life.
Well, since this was years ago, we are really grateful that you are still here with us today. So it seems like you made the right choice. But the other treatment might have worked too, right? Uh, and I mean, maybe neither would have worked for you, and you die believing you picked the wrong choice. Uh, it's hard. I mean, I try not to spend time and energy regretting decisions I've made, but that one could have cost you your life. But these are, like so many things, uncertain times with difficult conflicts in many parts of our lives. And when I come to you with a conflict, though, and ask you how to get the outcome I want, if your answer always is, it depends, I'm not sure how helpful that is. And I can't, I'm sure you would have, I mean, that's what the doctor said to you. It depends. That can be really difficult.
When I understand that the it depends answer isn't always that helpful. It's great to have options in conflict, but sometimes none of the options are great.
Mm,
So when I say it depends, I suggest that you try imagining each scenario, play it out, and include the option that you refuse to choose, like let fate decide. Play each scenario out as a what if I pick this? Speculate how each could backfire to turn the conflict into something bigger or something different or some other outcome. Like a champion chess player, you think of the next move. If I do this and they respond this way, what options open up? What options fall away? How can I combine the options?
mm.
And just play out as many scenarios as you can think of.
Yeah, that's so wise. I think that makes me think of decisions we make in conflict as part of what happens when we are already in ongoing disputes. So a couple examples I think about is, who's usually in the conflict or who's contributing opinions to keep disputes going between the parties, right? So like, who are the people at play? What other disputes ended, resolved, are conflicts being avoided, are left to simmer, right? And what's new or different of this are the same this time in this conflict? What assumptions, beliefs, biases, values do each other believe? Are those beliefs dependent partly on facts and partly on beliefs that may not be as true as we want them to be? And so there's all of these complexity things I think we really have to consider and I think the word it depends really opens that up.
Yeah, the complexities really do impact what everything in a conflict is dependent upon. And you've summarized some of the variables that make it depends the answer to many conflict questions. A desired outcome depends on how parties shape the facts to support their differing conflict versions. If everyone is somewhat right and somewhat wrong, there's room for discussion. And because outcomes are uncertain, people can be an advocate for peace, which is different than advocating for their preferred outcome. Advocating for peace is an active position that anyone can take,
Mm.
and it does add another variable.
Yeah, I often lead people in conversations around complexity. Our world is more than just being a simple or even complicated. It's very complex, and I think conflict is very much that. It's complex, and there are many variables and surprises, and without really very few guarantees. And accepting that uncertainty does open the conversation to a solution. Here's something important to consider. By being an advocate for peace, like you mentioned, I might also get my preferred outcome. That's what I think negotiation is about. Well, we post episodes every week, so please join us again and tell your friends that we're discussing how to do conflict better to be conflict competent.
Thanks for listening to the Conflict Owner's Manual. We hope you'll leave a comment, tell your friends, and subscribe to our podcast.